This takes me back to when I was in 5th grade. My sister, who's 3 years younger, had some kind of crazy idea to cut her own hair, and it turned into a total disaster. Trying to fix her over-trimmed bangs, she ended up taking scissors here and there until it was irreparable. The mess was so bad, even I, a boy, would have been embarrassed to be seen in public like that. My sister was so shocked by the horror she'd created that she shut herself off from the world. Seeing this, our mom, not willing to let things remain as they were, turned to a trustworthy hairstylist friend, asking her to help after her salon was closed for the day. Even though my sister brought this upon herself, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. I was worried about her lack of responses to my attempts to cheer her up, so I decided to accompany her to the salon. Once at the salon, she was led to the styling chair where she hunched over and stiffened up. She must have been worried about whether her hair would ever look normal again. The hairstylist, who was around my mom's age, spoke gently to her, slowly easing her tension. As she started to cut and style my sister's hair, my sister began to respond to her comforting words, and by the time she had finished and checked her reflection, she was able to muster a small smile. Seeing this, I was moved by the power of a haircut to bring a smile to even the most upset person. I began to admire the hairstylist. With that aspiration, I graduated high school and enrolled in a beauty school, eventually landing a job in a salon. Despite my eagerness to cut and style my own clients' hair as soon as possible, I found myself stuck with chores every day. I put my heart into the work, seeing it as part of my learning, but the salon manager was harsh with newcomers and I felt like we didn't get along. He would often make snide remarks, and there were also some seniors who took this as an opportunity to make things difficult for me. Each time there was a mistake, I would be blamed, and although I felt like I was losing confidence, I didn't quit. I was allowed to practice cutting hair after the salon closed, which made me stick with it. One day while working, I noticed a woman peeking into the salon from outside. The manager and other staff noticed her as well, but they didn't seem to recognize her as a potential customer. She had long, unkempt hair and her eyes were hidden by her bangs. I thought about asking the manager if I should talk to her, but he flatly told me not to do anything unnecessary. After a while, the woman disappeared from the storefront. After closing, I was practicing my cuts when I noticed the same woman standing in front of the shop. It was getting dark, which made her seem a bit eerie. As I opened the door to let her know we were closed for the day, she timidly asked if she could get a haircut. It was after hours, and I wasn't authorized to take clients. I wanted to turn her down, but she explained that she had been too shy to ask during the day with other customers around and couldn't give up and had returned. Considering her as a practice model, I decided to accept her request to cut her hair. I was starting to lose confidence, but I had a feeling that if I could make this woman smile with my haircut, something might change. I tried to ease her tension by recalling how the hairstylist had calmed down my sister. She left the style up to me, so I suggested a daring shortcut. She seemed surprised and hesitated a little, but she agreed, saying, "If you say so." Once the woman relaxed, she spent the entire time with a calm smile, surrendering herself to my haircut. We didn't exchange many words, but I felt an enjoyable unity with the customer, as if she was drawing out the best of my skills. Once the cut was over, the woman looked in the mirror and left the shop with a shy full-faced smile, bowing her head to me repeatedly. I was satisfied that I could bring out that smile, and I tidied up the shop before heading home. The next day, during work, the manager called me to the back room. Apparently, a senior employee had seen me cutting the woman's hair while passing by the shop the previous night. "Don't do whatever you want, do it again, and you're fired," he warned. From that day, I wasn't allowed to assist with clients anymore and was relegated to doing chores only. Even practicing haircuts after closing was prohibited. The confrontations from the manager and the seniors became stronger than before, and I felt like they were pushing me to quit. Even I began to lose the sense of purpose of working at this shop, and, while carrying out the mundane tasks every day, I was considering leaving. As I walked into the shop with a heavy heart one day, the manager and staff were buzzing about something. It seemed a young female researcher featured on TV was being talked about for being excessively beautiful. One of the staff showed me a picture of the woman on his smartphone and came up to me saying, "You know her, right?" It was the senior who had told on me for cutting the woman's hair. When I responded, "Indeed, she's the woman I cut the other day," the room erupted. Especially the manager, who was so excited that he was almost dancing, smiled broadly at me. Apparently, the woman had briefly mentioned the hairstylist who cut her hair during an interview, and people were buzzing about which salon she had gone to. Seeing it as perfect publicity, the manager, changing his attitude completely, praised me for my work and asked if there was any way to get in touch with the woman. Baffled by his quick change, I could only give a vague reply, to which the manager cheerfully patted my shoulder, told me to do my best, and said I could practice cuts as much as I liked from now on. He also said that I might become the poster stylist for the shop, so I should start learning to assist and take charge of haircuts as soon as possible. After closing, while practicing cuts, I was contemplating my future. Despite the elated manager, the seniors were cold. I had been acknowledged, but it seemed like it would become harder to work at this shop. Even during practice, I couldn't focus due to these thoughts, and just as I was trying to switch my mood, the shop's door was knocked. There she was. I was surprised and went to open the door. The woman in a suit was so beautiful it was hard to recognize her. I was also happy that she had styled her hair just as I had advised. I've heard a lot about you," I blurted out in confusion. The woman chuckled and said, "I was worried because I hadn't seen you recently. I wanted to thank you again, so I arranged to pass by here at this time." When I explained what had happened since I cut her hair, the woman apologized repeatedly, feeling sorry for causing me trouble. "It's all right. Thanks to you, I got to do the customer haircuts I've always wanted to do. If I hadn't cut your hair that day, I might have given up on my dream." That was my honest feeling. I was stuck doing chores and dealing with sarcastic remarks every day, and I didn't know if I could muster up the strength to try again at another salon if I ran away from this. Hearing this, the woman seemed relieved and said, "I know this is my way of saying sorry, but could I please request a proper haircut as a customer next time?" The salon told me to do so, right? I quietly furrowed my eyebrows at her offer. I had no intention of contacting the woman in the first place, and I was planning to keep it a secret from the manager that she came to the shop today. Well, that would help, but our shop will use you for publicity. You don't like to stand out too much, do you? I knew from the little conversation we had while cutting her hair that day that she didn't want that. I aspired to be a hairstylist who was close to the customers and could draw out their smiles. I didn't cut the woman's hair to force her to do something against her will. Besides, I've received enough thanks already. You responded to my haircut with a big smile. As a hairstylist, we don't ask our customers for more than that. I thought I might be showing off a bit, but that was my true intention as a hairstylist, without any lies or deceit.
"But I still want to help you."
The woman leaned in as she said this, looking into my eyes. I asked her, a bit confused, why she was going to such lengths.
"Actually,"
apparently, the woman had known about me for a long time. She was encouraged by seeing me diligently practicing my haircuts whenever she passed by here after late nights of research. She even said that the reason hair research results started getting attention was thanks to me.
It kind of feels like I'm a stalker, which is creepy, isn't it?
The woman concluded with a hint of self-deprecation, but I was glad to know that someone had been watching my hard work in that way. That's not true at all. I'm very encouraged by your story. When I honestly said that, the woman smiled as if relieved.
That's good. Then, can I request a haircut again? I have an important research presentation coming up, and I'd like you to cut my hair for that.
Given what she said, there was no reason for me to refuse her kindness. In fact, knowing the manager, he might flip his hand again if he sees that I have no connection with the woman. I understand. We look forward to your visit. I decided to express my gratitude by bowing deeply to my first customer who requested me by name. The day of the woman's visit was my first time officially taking charge of a haircut. The manager, who wanted to maximize the promotional effect, seemed to want the woman to be my first customer for the sake of the story. Despite my own thoughts on the matter, that was also what I wanted, so I continued to practice cutting hair after closing time alongside the manager's assistant in preparation for this day. As the woman's reservation time approached, not only the manager but also the other staff began to get a bit nervous. Of course, I was as well. But it wasn't anxiety, it was a sense of anticipation and excitement. The time had come, and a woman entered the salon. The sight of her took everyone's breath away, including the manager, who had been preparing to greet her. Other staff members unconsciously stopped what they were doing, and even the customers followed suit, all eyes on her. You could hear voices asking the attending staff who this beautiful woman was. Bathing in the gazes from all around the salon, I was worried if the woman might feel uncomfortable, so I hurriedly went over to guide her.
Nice to see you today.
But it seemed my worry was unnecessary, as the woman straightened up confidently and greeted me. The woman who had hesitated to enter the salon was no longer there. Seeing her filled with such confidence made me feel proud, and with my chest out, I guided her to the styling chair, saying, "Please, this way." When asked about her preferences, just like the last time, she answered, "I leave it to you," and let me take care of her while we chatted and proceeded with the cut. That day, our conversation flowed, and near the end of the cut, she confessed that up until now, she would just cut her hair herself whenever it started to get in the way. I had a hunch this was the case, but hearing her say it made me chuckle a bit. After confirming her hairstyle, she replied with the broadest smile, "As always, it's wonderful. I look forward to continuing this." The woman who responded with such a beaming smile left the salon with grace. A few years later, I finally realized my dream of opening my own salon. It was hectic to the point of making my head spin, but I was spending fulfilling days with many customers coming to ask for my cuts. I was blessed with a great team, and every day was busy but fun. Around that time, there were gradual changes in my personal life as well, and I found myself going out with her in between the busy schedule. Perhaps because she is known as a beautiful researcher, there are people who turn around when we walk on the street. Whether she knows or not how I feel nervous walking beside her, she has recently started to suddenly hook her arm into mine. "Are you teasing me because I'm younger?" When I ask sulkily as a way to hide my embarrassment, she looks at me as if offended and says, "I'm older, so I'm in a hurry. Is this a bother to you?" This woman, with a serious face, says such things and stares at me as if observing, which leaves me at a loss. No, I'm happy. When I give up and answer truthfully, she beams at me, the smile I love so much, and says, "Then, I'm glad." She rejoices like a child. Although I'm always being led by her, I've made up my mind to be the one to propose.